If you are listening to these words right now, I need you to do something very specific. Pause for a second, take a deep breath, and set aside every distraction around you. This is not a random video that slipped into your feed by mistake. The digital algorithms think they brought you here. But behind the screens, a higher divine architecture has orchestrated this moment. For months, maybe even years, you have felt an unexplainable sense of isolation. You've noticed that while others around you seem to move forward effortlessly, your life felt like it was put on pause. You've watched people with half your work ethic, half your integrity, and half your vision get elevated, while you remained stuck in the shadows, waiting in silence. You've asked yourself in the quiet hours of the night, did I do something wrong? Did God forget about me? Why am I being hidden? If that question has ever crossed your mind, listen to me very carefully. You were not forgotten. You were intentionally hidden. There is a vast difference between being rejected and being set aside for protection. What you thought was a wilderness was actually a vault. And right now, as you listen to this, the doors of that vault are beginning to unlock. Look at how creation works. Anything designed by God to carry immense weight and long-lasting strength must spend time buried where nobody can see it. When a seed is planted in the earth, it doesn't immediately sprout flowers. It goes into total darkness. It is surrounded by dirt. To an outside observer, that seed looks buried, dead, and lost. If you didn't understand the process of growth, you would walk over that patch of soil and assume nothing was happening. But beneath the surface, away from the applause, away from the public eye, that seed is undergoing a violent transformation. Its outer shell is breaking apart. Its roots are driving deep into the earth, so that when the stem finally breaks through the surface, no wind, no storm, and no drought can knock it over. You, chosen soul, have been in the dirt. You've felt buried by responsibilities, buried by financial pressure, buried by emotional exhaustion, and buried by loneliness. But God told me to tell you today, you were not buried, you were planted. The reason God did not allow you to blow up prematurely, the reason He kept you out of certain rooms, away from certain opportunities, and separated from certain people, was because your roots weren't deep enough yet to sustain the weight of where He is taking you. Premature exposure destroys immature talent. If God had given you the platform 3 years ago, the pressure of the platform would have crushed your character. So He hid you. He shielded you in the dark until your roots were strong enough to hold the fruit He is about to place on your branches. Let's examine what happened while you were in that hidden season. During this time, you lost friends, didn't you? Some people you thought would be with you for a lifetime suddenly drifted away. Calls stopped coming. Invitations faded. You felt an unnatural distance grow between you and people you used to consider family. At the time, it broke your heart. You wondered why people abandoned you when you needed them most. But look back with spiritual eyes now. God was removing the dead weight before the climb. He was stripping away the voices that would have given you bad advice in your next season. He was removing people who were attached to your past so they wouldn't corrupt your future. Every door that closed on you was closed by divine design. Every person who walked away was given permission to leave because their role in your story was finished. Think about the sheer amount of mental refining you've undergone. You used to seek validation from the world. You used to need applause to feel valuable. You used to measure your worth by the size of your bank account or the approval of people who didn't even care about your soul. God used the silence to break that addiction. In the quiet of your isolation, He stripped away the need for human approval until the only voice that mattered to you was His. You were forged in the crucible of solitude, and because you survived the silence, you are now immune to the noise. We are reaching a critical turning point in this revelation, and if your spirit is sensing the weight of these words, I need you to make a conscious act of alignment right now. Pause this video for just 5 seconds, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and drop a comment below. Type the number 888 or write, I am ready for the hidden season to turn into my harvest. Why do we do this? Because engagement isn't just about an internet algorithm. It is a symbolic act of stepping out of passive listening into active agreement. In the physical realm, you are declaring that you acknowledge what God has been doing in your life. When you type 888, you are stepping into a code of new beginnings, infinity, and divine abundance. You are announcing to your circumstances, your mind, and the unseen realm that you refuse to stay trapped in past regrets. You are choosing to align with the new story God is writing for you. Stay tuned through the remainder of this video, because what we are about to cover in these next 10 minutes will completely reframe how you look at your future. Let's look at the ancient blueprint of those who were hidden before they were exalted. Look at Moses. He spent 40 years in the royal palace of Egypt, thinking he was going to deliver his people through human power and politics. But his timing was off, his ego was too large, and his character wasn't ready. What happened? God sent him into the backside of the desert for 40 years. 40 years of tending sheep. 40 years of smelling like animals. 40 years of complete obscurity. The man who was trained to be a prince was reduced to a humble shepherd in a dusty wilderness. To the world, Moses was a washed-up, forgotten failure. But it was in that very wilderness, at the burning bush, that God revealed Himself, not as a concept, but as a burning reality. It took 40 years of silence to strip away the Egyptian culture from Moses' mind, so that God could fill him with divine authority. When Moses finally stepped out of the wilderness, he didn't return with a sword. He returned with a staff and the spoken word of God, and an entire empire crumbled before him. Look at Joseph, sold by his brothers, thrown into a pit, falsely accused, and locked away in an underground prison for years. The Bible says in Psalm 105, until the time that his word came, the word of the Lord tested him. Notice that phrasing, the word tested him. His dream wasn't delayed because God forgot. The dream was actively testing and building his spiritual stamina. And then, in a single day, in less than 24 hours, Joseph went from the damp, forgotten floor of a dungeon to standing as the prime minister of the greatest civilization on earth. Your transition will not take years. When God decides that your hidden season has fulfilled its purpose, the shift happens at the speed of light. You need to understand what is happening right now in the unseen realm regarding your life. For months, you felt like you've been hitting an invisible glass ceiling. Every time you try to push forward financially, something pops up to drain your resources. Every time you feel emotionally stable, a sudden conflict arises to derail your peace. Every time you try to build something new, exhaustion settles into your bones. That resistance was not proof that you were failing. It was proof that you were approaching a boundary line. The enemy doesn't fight people who are walking in the wrong direction. The spiritual forces of darkness don't waste energy attacking individuals who are dormant, compromise-driven, or spiritually asleep. The magnitude of the resistance you felt is direct evidence of the territory you are about to claim. The warfare was intense because the wealth, the wisdom, the influence, and the peace assigned to your next season are monumental. God is flipping the script right now. Where there was confusion, clarity is flooding in. Where there was financial lack, creative ideas, sudden resources, and unexpected open doors are assembling. Where there was physical and mental fatigue, a divine supernatural strength is taking over. The Bible declares in Isaiah 40:31, "They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." You have waited. You have endured the quiet. You have held your peace when you wanted to react. Now, get ready to mount up. What does your restoration look like? It is not merely getting back what you lost. God does not operate on a one-to-one replacement ratio. When God restores, He adds interest. He is restoring the years that the locusts ate, the lost time, the wasted emotional energy, the sleepless nights, and the stolen joy. Financial restoration. You are stepping into an era of stability where you will no longer live paycheck to paycheck, wondering if your basic needs will be met. God is placing strategies, investments, business ideas, and divine connections into your hands. You will not just survive. You will build a legacy that blesses your family for generations. Relational restoration. God is bringing people into your circle who carry honor, loyalty, and spiritual weight. The season of toxic, one-sided relationships, where you poured into everyone while nobody poured into you, is officially closed. He is surrounding you with a tribe that recognizes your value and sharpens your vision. Mental and physical restoration. The anxiety that kept your heart racing in the middle of the night is dissolving. A deep, unshakable peace, a peace that surpasses all human understanding, is taking root in your mind. You will wake up with clarity, energy, and a fiery passion for your divine assignment. I want to take a moment to speak directly from my heart to yours. Thank you for walking through this video with me today. Thank you for opening your spirit to this message. If this reflection has resonated with you, if it felt like a mirror holding up a truth you desperately needed to hear, know that you are part of a global family of believers who are waking up to their higher calling. If you feel led to help us keep these messages free, powerful, and accessible to millions across the world who are struggling in silence, consider supporting this channel through Super Thanks. Your generosity directly powers the creation of these video devotionals and allows us to reach souls in every corner of the earth. Whether you are able to give financial support or simply leave a prayer in the comments, please know that you are loved, valued, and prayed for daily. As you turn off this video and step back into your day, walk with your head held high. Stop carrying the posture of someone who is defeated. Stop talking like someone who has no hope. You are a child of the King, divinely selected, refined in the fire, and prepared for such a time as this. Your hidden season is over. Step into the light. Claim your peace, pursue your vision without fear. And watch as God turns every single struggle you endured into a breathtaking monument of His grace and favor. Type 888 in the comments, hit that subscribe button, and share this video with someone who needs to be reminded of who they are. Go out today and conquer. God bless you, chosen soul. I will see you in the next message.